Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday Western U.S. regional forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We're going to start off about 6 miles above our heads today because the flow pattern of the atmosphere as it stands today is going to be changing substantially over the coming 5 to 10 days, and it's going to mean a pretty big pattern change for the Western United States. Well, what are we featuring right now? Well, in the entire stack of the atmosphere, there is higher atmospheric pressure sitting right here. And you can see the flow around it in this direction. This broader, weaker trough that you see in through here is what gave us a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity across much of the Intermountain West over the last several days. But I want to keep a close eye on what's going on here and here. There's a couple of areas of lower atmospheric pressure, and they're going to be important in the coming days as to what happens across much of the Western United States. So we got a bit of a complicated pattern to unfold here. This is normal for summer in terms of how wavy it is here, but it's going to be very important as we start to stretch this out and see where we're going with our temperature and precipitation patterns. So again, over the weekend we saw generally this broader trough that was sitting across much of the Western United States, and as a consequence of that, we just had a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity popping up on our mountains. So some localized flooding here, a whole lot of lightning in a lot of these thunderstorms, and in some locations some hail that came out of these. So the question is, where are we going with precipitation over the next several days, and what about those temperatures? Let's start with precipitation first. Now you're definitely going to see the influence of this ridge as I click play on this animation, which is going to add up for us over the next 10 days total accumulated precipitation. You ready? Can you see the flow going around that ridge? Fairly clear here. But you notice as we get toward the end of next week, now I'm just going to give you some times here. If we get all the way out here about a week from now, so this is next Sunday into Monday, for parts of Washington and Oregon, which are normally very dry this time of year, look at this. You see this feature coming down here? Now we're pretty far out in the forecast. Like I said, this is next Tuesday into Wednesday, Thursday time period. But we're going to watch for a potential for a trough that could sweep through here, bringing in some precipitation to coastal Oregon and Washington. But latest model runs have been bringing some precip here into the Blue Mountains, part of the Columbia Basin. Now, on the other side of this, Montana, lots of storms coming through over the next several days. We'll take a closer look at the timing of those. And the Canadian Prairies, which are just on the edge of our view here and certainly covered by Andrew in his Canada update, getting in some much needed precipitation. Now, the reason why we talk about this is because this is the time of year that we start to fear the high evapotranspiration rates, the extreme heat, low humidity, and the risk for fires. And what I'm trying to talk about here is that this is not a pattern that's giving us those kind of conditions. Now, certainly over the last couple of weeks, we saw some pretty extreme heat in California stretching all the way up through Oregon and Washington, where triple-digit heat was the name of the game. We were seeing evaporation rates exceed 3 inches of water per week when it was that hot. But things are a little bit different. Take a look at this. Over the next 5 days, we are going to be seeing for much of the Intermountain West and the Northwest a cooler bias. Not so just yet in California. I'll show you the details in just a few moments. But as I get you out to days 6 through 10 in the forecast, this flow pattern is going to be doing something like this. Highly amplified pattern, broader trough feature sitting here over the Western United States with the ridge building over the east. So the heat is finally coming in the east, and these cooler temperatures out west, well, we're going to take a look at just how cool they are. But giving you the 11 to 15 day forecast, which yes, takes us into July, we do see that overall, much of the Western United States seeing near average temperatures for this time of year. No, we do not yet see the heat that you got right down here really spawning or getting the southwestern monsoon going just yet. We'll talk about that again in a few minutes when we look at the flow pattern. But overall, this pattern we're settling into here is one where we are going to be lacking the extreme heat in the Northwest and just a few more days of it in the Central Valley of California. Now, I like to look at the view of the flow of the atmosphere from this perspective, and I know that it's kind of strange to look at it, but the North Pole is sitting right in here, okay? Now, what we have to watch for very carefully are these ridges and troughs, and the first trough I want to pay attention to is this one sitting right here, and it's got a little piece sticking out there just south of the Aleutian Islands. This is the dominant ridge that you saw a few moments ago that's really going to steer all of these systems around it. But it's right at the tip of that arrow that I want to watch because we're going to see these two trough features come down there. And while they do that, ridging builds out east, and you're going to see heights lowering, which means troughing sitting over the North Pole. Now, I know that's kind of a lot of meteorology there, but watch what I'm talking about here. As we click play, let's just pause it right there. Now look at this. By the middle and end of this week, this is Thursday afternoon. See the trough established here? This ridge that was sitting closer to the west coast is now moved into the Gulf of Alaska. Okay, as we progress forward into Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. Look at the broader trough that has taken over the western United States. It's reinforced next Tuesday. Now, you see that guy right there? That's the one that slid through, bringing in the chances of rain for a lot of folks in the Northwest early next week. And we just saw that a few moments ago. As I continue to click play, though, look at what the jet stream tells us it's going to do. I'm all the way out to Wednesday, the 26th, the 27th, 28th, okay? The jet stream right now is getting into what I call it a check mark pattern, okay? Now, what in the world am I talking about? Well, as we get to the end of June and the beginning of July, the check mark pattern is like this. So we have this really strong flow that comes in off of the Pacific Ocean. And yes, El Nino's influencing this, and something else I'll show you at the end called the quasi-biennial oscillation. But we see heights lowering here. They're rising over in this side of the United States. Really, I should have drawn that a bit more like this, which means some ridging starts to happen here. If the monsoon were going to get fully going, this ridging would be having to happen over there. So it's a bit different of a flow pattern as we progress into the beginning of July. But that strong Pacific jet tends to dig down here into the western United States. This prevents us from seeing extreme heat and allows some heat to be back in the middle part of the country. So this is what we're moving into as we get toward the end of June and the beginning of July. And we need to see what the consequences are of that in terms of precipitation first and then temperatures. Now, when we think about the West, you're going to see this particular corridor seeing a lot of showers and thunderstorms. And that's because as those troughs dig in out west, they're going to kick off low pressure systems. They're going to spin up just like that. And that means Montana, well, you'll see in just a few seconds here. Ready? Starting you off at 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Let's just get through the next couple of days. Montana, a lot of scattered showers and thunderstorms there. As you can see, late in the night. Sorry, let me step back here. This is Tuesday night, so widely scattered showers and storms. Getting you into Wednesday morning, now Wednesday afternoon, and Thursday. Here comes the first of our low pressure systems. It's this elongated region here that moved through Montana, but is now moving into the Canadian prairies. Meanwhile, much of the west coast very dry. Now, as that upper level trough spins in this area, you're going to get widely scattered showers and storms into parts of Oregon, Washington, northern Idaho, and parts of the Rocky Mountains there in Montana. And that's going to be the name of the game through Thursday and into Friday. By Friday midday, we're watching another low pressure system. Remember, the trough is now established here. Another low pressure system moving into parts of Montana, some locally heavy rain out of that one. So I told you, Montana, you're under the gun right now. But you notice California, Nevada, parts of Oregon, not much to be had as we get through the next 5 days. And that's what I got you stretched out to here. This is next Sunday morning right here, okay? Now, as we move forward into early next week, we're going to start to see better chances at precipitation. This is now Monday night into Tuesday morning, coming into parts of coastal Washington and Oregon. And those chances of precip Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are right there. You just saw them, okay? That's when that other piece, that other trough comes in to this area. So we're seeing that in the near term. California, you're basically high and dry throughout the next 10 days here. And when I talk about high and dry, let's just take a look at what the precipitation looks like. So again, multiple chances of rainfall here. A lot of this is not coming until next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. California, dry. By the way, just so you know, on the other side of the mountains, people are not happy about this. We're desperately trying to finish planting a crop, and it is just incredibly wet over the next 10 days. But let's take a look at those temperatures. Today, I'm worried about the northern Sacramento Valley. We're going to be seeing temperatures between 100 and 105, 106 degrees. Still triple-digit heat getting down into the San Joaquin here, but not as hot as in the northern Sacramento Valley. As I press play on this, let's see how temperatures get in the day on, sorry, let's start that over again. Let's see how temperatures get in the day on Wednesday here. Still triple-digit heat, although west of San Francisco there, east of San Francisco there, getting like San Joaquin County, we're going to have temperatures that'll be in the middle to upper 90s, but triple-digit heat down south. Now look, by the time we get into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we see temperatures now going back into over toward what we would call much more seasonable temperatures here, which are in the lower to mid 90s. So the extreme heat for the next couple of days does seem to kind of weaken a bit as we get out to next Sunday and beyond. This is Monday, and there you go. So this is the good news of the broader trough that's coming in. In the Pacific Northwest, let's take a look at your temperatures. So a hot day today, kind of around Yakima, getting you here to the Columbia Basin here in the rain shadow. But watch what temperatures do as we press play on this one. You look at this. By the time we get into Tuesday, here's Tuesday, Wednesday. Temperatures in the middle upper 70s. Look at that. That's the temperatures on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, get a little bit of a rebound in temperatures there, but not hot. Sunday, highs there, 80s, 70s, and 80s. Getting into Monday, that is an interesting pattern setting up here. That's the influence of that upper level trough for your temperatures there, okay? So I want to give you those details. As we finish up this video, I'm paying close attention to a few things. One, we have seen waters really warm up right in through this corridor, and that's really kind of quelled the cooler anomalies we were seeing off the west coast. But there's a dominant feature sitting out here, which is part of what we call the positive phase of the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. And at the same time that is going on, we've seen some cooler water start to emerge here near the surface just off the west coast of South America, and the warmer anomalies sticking around here. And what the thinking about here, and I wrote the word L in there, is the thinking that this summer's El Nino is going to be mainly focused out here in the central equatorial Pacific. And as a consequence of that, that is going to change our later summer flow pattern across the Pacific Northwest. Now, really what we're talking about here is we're talking about how often are we going to be seeing these troughs and ridges, and this El Nino is going to have a role in that. But in the near term, what we're going to see really dominating the flow is this thing called the quasi-biennial oscillation. This is the flow of the jet stream deep in the atmosphere. And it is right now in its very positive phase, QBO, quasi-biennial oscillation here. And while it's in such a positive phase, we tend to get more flow doing this. And that's exactly what you've seen recently, okay? And that's what we're going to be seeing over the next 10 to 15 days. This is just one thing, though, that does delay the arrival of the southwestern monsoon a little bit longer. So that's an important feature to see while the quasi-biennial oscillation is positive like this. I'll be talking a whole lot more about it in the long-range update that I'll be providing tomorrow around midday, so hope you tune back in for that. With that, though, I want to go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We at Nutrien Ag Solutions hope you look forward to our next Western Regional Forecast video coming out on Friday. In the meantime, check out all of our videos at my.nutrienagsolutions.com. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.